Well, we got 3 minutes before we start. We're starting to get this together now. I'm liking that.
Yeah. That's usually the part with kind of editing too. You can make a lot of stuff go away in the editing. All this stuff can get cut out of the final edit or whatever.
Yeah. But, you know, it's like anything else. It's a process. It's not perfection.
Yeah.
No matter how hard we try to.
So I'll leave it on right now. But yeah, so the future, the start will be when you're ready to start the show. We'll have it silent at the beginning, like this was.
Mm-hmm.
When you're saying, okay, let's turn on the audio, or you make some sort of, let me know, and then that's when I'll do put that slide up. I'll go over, I'll turn on the audio,
yep.
Then I'll come back, and you just start talking whenever you want to start talking. But we'll try and do it at that time rather than a couple minutes here of this. I'll go back to that. Arisen strength. Now I'll try that one small again because it was big. He's got a little mind of its own.
Oh my, it is small. Oh. Leave it that one. Ready?
Water bottle.
Water bottle.
The other side. Everybody heard that.
Everybody's heard other things too, so it'll be all right.
Whenever you're ready.
We have 1 more minute. I told Charles it'll be at 8 on the dot.
I have 8 on my computer.
Okay, it's 8 now. Hi everybody, my name is Shane Schultz. I am the host and creator of Arisen Strength. I'm here with my buddy Wayne the Hacker.
Hello.
That's my man. He has been working like a devil. He's got different angles that he's got cameras coming from, all sorts of different ways. So I feel like I got a whole bunch of lasers that are looking at me here with crosshairs. But he is working like crazy in order to make things better, and we are slowly but surely we are starting to get the hang of this. So I want to welcome everybody to our recap show of Arisen Strength from last Sunday. I was just talking to Wayne, and we're really getting to the point as to where things are starting to really look good for Arisen Strength. We currently have over 300 members. We have 330 members on Arisen Strength, and you know that's not a lot for some groups and stuff like that. But here's what I know. I know that the ones that are in Arisen Strength, the family, I know that they're actually there for a reason because I've talked with a good majority of them, and you know I'm not there in order to get a bunch of likes, and I'm not there to get a bunch of friends that I don't know. And that I have no idea, you know, why they're in the group. You know, so more and more people are joining Arisen Strength, the family, because of word of mouth from our shows and from people that are already joined. You know, so I'm really proud of that. Another thing that I'm very proud of is we made an announcement that got a whole lot of interest and a lot of response. Was that Crystal, which is one of the guest panel, is now going to be a large part of Arisen Strength. She's always been an admin. That wasn't anything new, but I've decided that I wanted to make her even more so involved with Arisen Strength because she has tremendous abilities that I wanted to make sure that she's able to use. So We announced Crystal as part of the management team of Arisen Strength, and I know that Wayne was very proud to see that because he's been friends with Crystal for a good while. Kind of surprised you?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not sure about surprised, but certainly very happy.
Yeah.
I think it's a great choice, and it's a smart move for everybody. I think everyone's going to benefit from that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, from the response that we've gotten, it's definitely a move that I'm happy of doing. I would have done it anyways, but I like the response that came with it. So, one of the first things that Crystal is doing is she's putting together a core group of people for a group chat. So she, for those members who are watching the show, Crystal might get in touch with you in order to participate in that. If you're not contacting and you want to participate in the group chat, you can always just give us a direct message, whether it be myself, Crystal, or even Wayne, and we'll make sure to get you on that group chat. We recognize from the very beginning of this show, when it started in the beginning of this year, is that we need participation from its members. We need participation from its audience to be able to make the show as dynamic as what I had envisioned in the first place. And we're just trying to drum that up a little bit more. We're also trying to make it so that it's less confusing as to where the show is going to be seen. I know that that's been a little bit of a hassle for some people. We're doing our best in order to make it available for you at the different sites that I'm a part of, whether it be Arisen Strength, Serenely Speaking, or the JGF organization. It's embedded right into the site where all you have to do is hit play at 8 o'clock, and we're there live. Or you can actually watch it post live as well. But we're working on things in order to make it so that we can have the video and the chat at the same spot. So in order to make it less confusing and so forth. So we're going to try to do our best in order to make things even better, and we're doing it slowly but surely. So tune in because there's definitely going to be some changes and some some improvements that we're all looking forward to. So now is the recap for the show from Sunday. Now, as some of you might know, that the show was originally scheduled to be Autism Awareness. It was scheduled because Autism Awareness World Day was actually Thursday on the 2nd. And I wanted to follow right along with that, and I wanted to make sure that autism awareness was getting as much notice as possible. I personally have a personal stake in autism. I mean, I've worked with autistic adults for 4 years over two different companies and so forth. So I know what autism's like in order to work with. I've worked with them for quite a while. I've worked with Willowbrook patients, of which, for those of you who remember the famous documentary that Geraldo Rivera did with 2020, unfortunately, those people who were residents of Willowbrook, they really had a tough time there. They had some big challenges that they had at the time, and they still have because of the memories that they have there. So I'm very personalized with autism, and what I realized is that I was having a very tough time being able to take autism and making it so that it was easily understood and easily expressed from a patient's point of view. I was trying to get that feeling like we normally do, but it's one of those. You hear this all the time, but this is true. It's one of those diseases or illnesses or conditions that you want to talk about that has more questions than it ever does answers. Doctors go up there on stage when they go to talk about autism, and they constantly are contradicting themselves, depending on which doctor that you're listening to at that given moment. So it was one of those things is where we were having a difficult time in order to be able to do what we do, to be able to bring awareness as well as support and empowerment to celebrate. And so we were having a tough time doing that. And, as I was doing that, then all of a sudden I realized as Easter came along, the Easter holiday, and for those of you who I didn't say Happy Easter to, the belated Easter to everybody. As Easter came along, all of a sudden I got something in my head that just wouldn't go away. And that was, I wanted to celebrate our supporters that help us during our challenging times, our struggling times. And I thought, what better day to do that on Easter, a family holiday? And, I'll be honest with you, it was one of those things as to where though that weight on my shoulders trying to bring autism to the table the way that I want to, where I was struggling, that all that weight came off my shoulders for a reason, and all of a sudden it was, this is what we're supposed to do at this given time, and I really do believe that my higher power was giving me a lesson, it was giving me a little bit of shove, it's like, I'm going to make this difficult for you because, like I said, I know what it is, I know what autism is about, but I was having a tough time. So I'm going to make this difficult for you until you see what it is that needs to be seen. And when I finally made that decision to go ahead and to celebrate our supporters, man, you couldn't get the smile off my face. You couldn't get the feeling in my chest, to stop. I mean, I just really felt like that was the way to go. And in the way that the show started, it definitely showed that. So, Wayne, how'd you think about the change that we made?
I thought it was great. It was a great opportunity for those of the panel to be able to share some personal stories. Arisen Strength is about personal stories. It's people, lives are say at stake, but lives are being examined, and we're talking about people who are real things in their lives. And so this was a chance for the panel to get very personal too. It's one thing for us to talk about other people who are going through struggles and rising up and finding that strength and living Arisen strength. And it's another thing for us to to talk about their supporters and to recognize their supporters and celebrate their accomplishments. But this was a great opportunity for us to make it personal for ourselves. So I think that really came across really well in the show.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It was one of those things as to where I just could not get it out of my head. And then when we started the show, it started off perfectly because Joey Aquilino, who is the CEO of the JGF organization, he started it off with a tribute to his mother who has since passed. And it was very touching to me. I don't know, I know you thought it was touching too. It was one of those times, I've known Joey for a while now, and I don't think I've ever seen him as genuine as what he was then. He really looked down deep, about his mother, and you could tell that he definitely cherished the memories that he had with her, and the fact that she supported him like a rock is what he would mention, and it was just the right way to start off that show. It just felt right. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. It was a great start. In a way, it's a little cliche to start out. Like, oh, my mother was a great supporter, but it was a beautiful way to start. And it was Easter, a lot about family. Yeah. So there was that. It was it was to hear him be able to share that with us. You can know somebody for a while, and Joey we only know over through the internet virtually. Never been in the same room with Joey. but you feel a little closer to somebody after something like that, or even a lot closer. You really feel like you got, and I think everybody who watches that show and sees that segment will even recognize that.
Yeah, and it's funny you should mention that because as our audience knows, who are part of the Arisen Strength family, we go ahead and we actually take about 4 minutes, no more than 4 minutes of clips from the show, from the actual live show, and one of them happens to be that story that Joey talks about his mom. It really is. It's a short thing, but at the same time, you can tell the genuineness. You can tell the sincereness that comes from Joey when he starts talking about his mom and how she made him feel safe, supported, and loved. And so I know that he's not here with us tonight, but I'm sure he'd love to hear from any of you, to give him a shout out, for being as genuine as he was, because it was very cool to me. The next one that it didn't take long in order to get to the next time as to where the heart was pounding a little bit more is when we got to you. You wanted to talk about your best friend.
Yeah, and then that's another one of the ones that got segmented out, and there's about a 4-minute clip of that. I mean, which is a great way to for those that have missed the show, but then really say they can't find an hour to sit down and to watch all of Arisen Strength. The fact that you put together these little segments, little 4-minute segments, several of them per episode. You could spend 5 minutes a day, a couple days during the week, and you can really catch up on a lot of the meat of the show. And I think it's a wonderful addition to the products here that we're putting out. So aside from the full length shows, which are unedited and raw, they're not flawless by any means. There's a chance to see some of these the segments where you can just get a few minutes of and hopefully it feels good. And that one was one I really felt good about doing. It was my ex-wife. I was married 23 years, and she was a great supporter of mine for a long time. And so it was real nice to be able to take that time and recognize her. Of course, it wasn't anything I cleared with her in advance or anything. I didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to be talking about you and recording this."
You're going to be on TV.
I went ahead and did, but I did after we did do the show and after it was segmented out and the clip was ready for posting. I contacted her immediately and let her know that just because somebody's going to say something, maybe, or I don't want her to stumble across it by accident. Like, hey, I did this thing, the segment's out, and she watched it. She really enjoyed it. She felt really good. She really thanked me profusely. She said, "Oh, thanks, I'm really glad you did that." She appreciated that I recognized her support. It was good, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to do that.
Oh, it was my pleasure. And when you mentioned Linda, I met her once. And it's like I could tell that she was a quality human being right from the start. So when you started mentioning Linda, it kind of made me feel good. Because I know that relationship that you have with her and have had with her for a very long time has been one that's been up and down, but she's been there for you. And that was really the whole idea of the show, was for those people that we want to recognize for sticking with us during our challenging times, during our struggles that we have, and so that really kind of fit the bill, and I was really overjoyed. You've had a couple days after and everything. Is there anybody else that you would want to recognize?
Well, certainly, since you've been living here at the house over the last year and a half or so, and it's been a great opportunity to sort of put into practice some of the things that I went through. This pretty intensive treatment. I mean, there was a couple of hospitalizations. I isolated myself in my apartment. I didn't go outside for a year and a half. Just did not go outside at all. And when I did finally get outside, I think I was able to get that sort of the courage and strength and the will to do that from sort of internet friends. I mean, Crystal, one of them, and several other people that I had met on Twitter, and I was able to finally start taking those first steps myself. But then there was a year and a half of intensive day treatment, and about that time, at the end of that, that's when I met you, and it was really a great chance to start putting into practice a lot of the skills and the coping skills and interpersonal skills, and just trying to really keep myself centered and focus on like, hey, here's a chance to sort of be involved in the world and talk to somebody and listen to them, and respond and communicate, and a chance to sort of like reestablish what it's like to have like a real relationship with somebody. Is when you're isolated in your room for a year and a half, you don't see anybody. Sometimes you don't get to practice all those skills, all those people listening skills, and supporting and recognizing support and things like that. So it's been so that's really been a very helpful one. I didn't really take the time to thank you during the show, but I was saving it for the recap show. But thanks a lot for being a great friend over the last year and a half, Shane.
Oh well, believe me, it's my pleasure, because you were gonna actually acknowledge me, but I kind of cut you off because during a funny moment that we had. If you haven't seen it, you gotta go to the site, Arisen Strength Family, because we've got the clip there.
The blooper reel.
It was. Tell me one person that you want to recognize, and next thing I know, I got about 6, 7, 8 people that were in line, and it was like, hey, wait a minute, it's an hour-long show. Let's stretch this out a little bit. And Wayne happened to misunderstand what it is that I was saying at the time, and so he was like, I am stretching it out. I'm telling you everybody who I want right now. So, but it was fun, and you got to see the clip, because I'm telling you, it makes me laugh every time I see it, and it's something simple, but it's funny.
Well, I know Joey and I took time out, and and we opened the show with our supporters, but we did flip it back to you, because your show, and we want to hear what you had to say, and I know you were able to get in. Why don't you go ahead, Shane, give us a little recap of your little supporting segment.
I had to start off with my family, with my parents. It's been a long ride, man. It really has. Somebody in the group was talking about, going back and forth between good and bad, and feeling, depressed and this and that. It's just this life has been a long ride. I'm an old, whatever age I am now to this day. My parents were very strong, and they had a nucleus. We had a nucleus together that was supportive and strong, but there was always something missing, and it wasn't necessarily them. It was me that was missing it, and I couldn't tell them what it was. I could not tell them. I couldn't. I had no idea what that was. It's like I'm not. I didn't want for much. It's like I always had a roof over my head. I had plenty of food on my table. It's like Christmas wasn't all that bad. It's like I had a good time, and I was able to do a lot of things that I wanted to do. I was able to play baseball. I was able to play golf. It's like, and my parents, they supported me in the best way that they could. But for whatever reason, we and a lot of it was me, and it wasn't until now, which I'm 44 years old, okay, so put it back, a good 30 plus years, it took that long in order to get the answer. It was like, oh, so depression does that to you? oh, PTSD? Okay, all right, it took that long. It really did. And I got to admit, with my depression, I had a distorted mind. I had a distorted thoughts. It's like where they would say something and they would be strong-minded, and I would think that they would be attacking me, or I would think that they were, not supporting me. the way that I needed them to. I've come to realize now, they were scared to death what was going on with me. I mean, it couldn't have been fun. You know what I mean? It's like I said it in the show, I say it all the time. I am not meant for the weak of heart by any means. And I joke about it, but it's true, and it's like my parents did everything that they possibly could. They gave me everything that they could. They gave me an education that some don't get to have, but at the same time, they knew something was wrong. They knew something was up. I mean, when I went into the hospital, 2012, my mother wrote a list, to the doctors, basically imploring them to help me. It looked like a CSI list. It's like I was a one of the what do they call them? The suspects or whatever.
Profile.
Yeah, it was a profile. It was like, and it had he's going through this, he's going through that, he's going through this, he's going through that. It's like, please help him. And and my mother she's 4'11", but she's not called the general of the family for nothing. I can tell you that right now. Everybody in the family knows who's running things, and that's my mother. But I've also seen her to where she was just about ready to explode crying when she starts thinking about things that were going on with me, and remembering some of the things that were going on with me. And so I had to, come right out, and I had to say, I wanted to celebrate the fact that they were there for me, and they are still there for me. They're doing their thing right now, you know what I mean? They're both retired, and God love them, they deserve it. If anybody deserves it, it's them. They deserve it because, it wasn't the easiest thing to be having Shane as the son, even though that all three of us loved each other, and respected each other a great deal.
That's another one of the great segments that's taken out of the show. So there's which I think is a great opportunity for all of us watching the show. Take some time in your lives, and who are those supporters in your life, and share the stories. I mean, obviously, thank them in person is one thing, but share the stories of them with other people. That's let other people know who in your life has supported you, and we have those things with Joey with his mother, and me talking about my best friend, and yours is I guess I don't remember your clip exactly because I know on the show you thanked a lot of other people. I mean, you start with your parents, but
I was feeling it.
There are some other people. Did they make it? Did those other people make it into the clip?
Some did not. One that I really want to talk about is Johnny Privatera. He probably will never see this. I mean, he's not an internet guy, but I met Johnny about 6 years ago, and through work. And I gotta tell you, I've always had this knack of being able to learn from people. And I've always kind of like been close to people who were older than me because of that, because I wanted to learn from people who knew better than I did. And Johnny really goes out of his way, for me. We have lunches, we talk for hours, we play golf together. He busts on me terribly. I mean, horribly. It's like, I feel that like my lips starts to tremble because he busts on me so much. But I know deep down inside that it's a genuine caring. And he's been there, when I was in the hospital and everything, he's come and visited, and it was very uncomfortable for him, but he did anyways. So yeah, I definitely want to mention John. Trudy Weldon, I want to talk about. She is actually my landlord. I've known her for a short period of time, but she's been very supportive of me getting better. She kind of like her eyes kind of light up when because as you know, everybody's reading whatever it is that I write, because I want everybody's opinion. So it's like I throw it over to Trudy, and Trudy's eyes light up like, oh my God, it's like, why don't you run with this type of thing? It's like, this is great, So and she's very supportive, and she's helped me out a great deal.
Trudy was another one of those people that was very instrumental in support mine too.
Yeah.
After I had left my apartment after not going outside for a year and a half, and I had to go into a hospital and I spent a month, crisis unit, stabilization unit, trying to get back to being at least something. But one of the things I knew, I couldn't go back to where I used to live. I mean, I just could not go back at all. So at that point, I was officially homeless. I had whatever I could carry.
I know the feeling there.
I had whatever I could carry with me, and I just had to walk away from everything else in my life. And I could not go back to the apartment that I was in. And I met Trudy when I was up at the hospital, and she runs a boarding house here. And I was able to get a room in the boarding house, and it took so much off of my plate of all the things I had to worry about, because you're living in it's a family environment. You got a little bit of privacy, but we share a house with a couple other people. We have meals together. There's everything that goes on with sort of being in a family. But it's a chance for everything else in the house runs in the background without my involvement. I don't have to make sure that the cable bill is paid or that the electric bill is paid. I don't have to make sure that the things that sort of the running of the house sort of happens in the background and gives me a chance to put that focus on me and my recovery. And Trudy makes that possible, not just for me and not just for you, but there are several people she's done that for. So it's a great mention of a supporter, because she really is a great supporter in this process.
Well, it's like you. I mean, I was in the hospital, and I don't know, it was like 2.5 months or whatever the case may be, and I was homeless, because of the decisions that I had made, and Trudy was an option that I wasn't expecting, but she came in and she said, I have this boarding house, and she said, I'm willing to take a shot with you, and it was like, and she didn't even know how old I was. She she was a little bit concerned that she thought I was much younger. Anyways, she thought I was much younger, and then when she found out,
she has really bad eyes. Yeah, I gotta throw that out there.
Not as bad as yours, but they're bad. But it's like, she found out that I was 44, and then she started realizing, she started hearing some of the stories and stuff, and then she started saying, that maybe this guy needs just another opportunity, in order to be able to get things settled and straight.
Another support I wanted to bring up too, not to cut Trudy off here, but and this was I think it was an important one for you, and he did get kind of left off, and it wasn't on purpose by any means. But if you go ahead and tell us the story behind the starburst here in the Arisen Strength logo.
Yeah. Well, that is. I'm glad you mentioned that. I really thank you. That was my my best friend, Ronnie Tchaikovsky. He passed away 2 years ago now. Going to be 2 years ago. Tragically, in an accident. He was just a guy. Man, I could do a whole show on Ronnie. He was just a guy that was funny, that was caring. He was God-loving, not fearing. He was God-loving, and he cared about people. And when we we met each other, quite a few years ago in the hospital, and we just gravitated towards one another, and we were a hellacious tag team. You know what I mean? No, if any, there was nobody who was sitting there being depressed about nothing, when Ronnie and I were around because we were making sure that we were taking care of them. Instead of ourselves, but we were taking care of them. So anyways, the story is that Ronnie used to be a big brother to another gentleman. His name was Michael. And I had been with him a couple times when he went to see Michael and everything, so I knew who he was. Well, when Ronnie had passed away, I was having a tough time, and Michael wanted to know where I am and everything like that, and I was having a tough time with it because it kept on bringing me back to, my memories of Ronnie. But anyways, one day I'm sitting there and I'm coming home from intensive therapy, and I'm saying to myself, I wonder where Michael is. It's like I knew that he was close to me, but he wasn't. I didn't know the exact place because Ronnie always drove, and if anybody knows Ronnie, he was crazy when he was behind the wheel. So I was wondering where it was, and I'm sitting there and I'm at the bus stop and I'm getting ready to wait for the bus, and all of a sudden there's Michael, right? He's standing there as if it's like asking you shall receive type of thing, and here's Michael, and I remember feeling this warmth in the back of my neck, and it was a summer day, but it's like, and I looked up and there was this burst of sun that was coming down on me. And anybody who knew Ronnie knew that he had this smile that was infectious. And I just said to myself, I said, man, every time that those rays of that sun comes down, that's just him smiling down. So the burst came into play, and so that's what the starburst is on Arisen Strength. It's a different color because I didn't want just yellow. I wanted it to be something pop. And that's my tribute to Ronnie. With the show, I said from his birthday after, I promised his friends and I promised his family that wherever I go, Ronnie's going to go with me, and I'll mention him everywhere I go. And I wish he was here. I really do. I wish he was here because he would be such a great addition.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to tell a little story, and while doing that, I think your camera, I don't know if you've noticed anything, your camera seems to be frozen, at least over here on my thing. It may or may not be.
It's not frozen on me, but I don't know.
Well, yeah. But if we'll see what happens. But what I was saying is I didn't know Ronnie, and I didn't know you. This was before you moved in. This happened, and I didn't know Michael until that weekend that Ronnie passed. I met Michael, and I was talking to him, and he was just, and we were sort of just sharing and supporting each other with some stories. It was at a recovery meeting, and he was really devastated by the fact that his, as he referred to him, his big brother had just died. And it had just happened within like that weekend. I think it was a Monday night, and I think it was a Friday morning.
Friday morning.
Yeah, and so it was, and I met Michael then much later, and it wasn't until one time we were talking and you were talking, and I said, "Wow, hey man, this all sounds like," and it's weird just how how much out there in the universe and how connected we can be if we just pay and things come back around.
And there's quite a few friends that are part of the Arisen Straight family that so it's a tribute that I definitely wanted to put forth, and I wanted him to be part of, because if he was here, man, he would definitely be all up in. I really appreciate you bringing that up, because I would have been kicking myself a little bit.
And speaking of other people,
before
we did the recap, we were going to throw some shout-outs to some members of the Arisen Strength family.
Yeah.
And we had to do that at the beginning. We're just so excited to get back in here and talk about such a great show Sunday. And, definitely go back and watch those clips. Joey, me, Shane talking about first of all, the little short clips. If you have the time, watch the full show. It runs about an hour. But within the Arisen Strength family, as Shane mentioned, there's over 3 families. And, I think Shane just has some special words or some shout-outs for some people.
Yeah, I really do. We got a message the other day about Caesar. Caesar had to go into the hospital. He's got some terrible headaches that are going on, migraines. He also has MS. So I want to shout out to him and some thoughts and prayers are with him, not only for myself that are in the group. I also want to mention BJ, which is a newer member of the group. I know that he sometimes feels a little bit like he's struggling and everything, and I even mentioned the fact that Arisen Strength is not all about a party. It's not all about a celebration and everything's positive. Arisen Strength is bringing positivity in spite of our challenges. Some days are going to be challenging, and so the idea of Arisen Strength is to take ownership and enjoy the good days to the fullest, knowing that you're going to have some challenging days outside of it. So I want to mention BJ. I also want to mention Michelle. We're going to talk about autism, what we're going to be doing this weekend. Michelle has a son with autism, so she was really interested in the show, and so I know, and I kind of had to tell her, it's like, don't worry, we're going to do this show, I promise you. So I want to mention her, and she's also, she's having some challenges, but I talked to her a couple days in a row, and she's already starting to get the concept of Arisen Strength. She's already believing, it's like, although I don't feel the best, it's like I got to turn the thought. So the concept's getting around, and that's really exciting and something that I enjoy. So that's who I want to talk about.
And I like you mentioning how we have to sort of rise up to these challenges, and really sometimes when things are going really bad, we can't even see the challenge because we get stuck in the crisis. Mm-hmm. That's something I like to talk about. It's like you got to look at that crisis and you got to view it as a challenge, and then from there you can start finding the strength to face the challenge, because I understand it is very difficult to deal with a crisis. We've all been in crisis situations, especially when you're trapped and alone, and you really don't know who your supports are. You don't want to be in a crisis situation if you can help it, but if you can just view that challenge. Maybe that first step of the challenge is sort of reaching out. Now you can start thinking a little clearly to reach out for that first support, or that you can take, and then we can turn that challenge into an opportunity for celebration later on. That three-part thing where I say, it's crisis to challenge to opportunity. Because when the opportunity's knocking, we're all enthusiastically answering the door, but when the crisis is out there making noise and howling, and we're cowering behind the door, we want to be able to get that door open. We want to be able to go to that door. So think of it as a challenge, then an opportunity, and then the opportunity knocks, we face it, and we celebrate, we have a good time, and we try to be positive. Yeah, it's not always happy from morning to night. And
I don't want it to be. I'm not that way, so it would be fake.
But we can try to be positive.
Do our best to do so, and not only that, but and it's like I mentioned to BJ in a short message. He's not alone anymore. You know what I mean? He's got 330 people in the family, and then I've got, serenely speaking, it's kind of weird. People are like splitting off between the two. So I mean, we've got even more, because they see the show too. So you're not alone anymore. You're with people who know what it is that you're going through, and if you allow them, they can help you through that day. And it's like. And that's going to be part of the thing that we're going to talk about, all throughout the show, is how to turn the thought and how to, only worry about today, You know what I mean? Today, this hour sometimes, sometimes it's just getting through an hour. Forget the day. This hour was tough. Doesn't mean the next hour isn't going to be better. And so that's the idea of Arisen Strength. Arisen Strength is not a party 24/7 by no means. It's tough subjects. We talk about some tough things. When we were talking about multiple sclerosis and autoimmune diseases and experiences that we've had and so forth that are easy to get over by no means. And sometimes we'll never get over it, but we can only find a way to manage it a little bit better for ourselves in order to be able to rise above. So that's why we do support. We acknowledge that you have your challenges, and we're there for you. We empower, we encourage you, and then, after all that work, we damn well deserve to celebrate, and we're going to. So, now we're to the point where we're going to talk about what we're going to do this weekend. This weekend we're going to do autism. Again, this is a disease that's a condition, whatever you want to call it. It's something that's very complex, and so I want to get that out there. We're going to do our best. You and I are going to be shooting a promotional video in regards to autism, so definitely, folks, look out for that. It'll be on all the pages. It'll be on Arisen Strength, Serenely Speaking, and all the JGF organization pages and groups. This is a complex condition. It's not something that's just understood, and that's coming from a guy who's worked with people for 4 years. So we're going to do the best that we can in order to bring that around, in order to make it understood and felt from the patient's point of view as best as possible. We're going to bring awareness to a very complex condition. This month is the awareness month for autism, along with some other things that are going on. But this one means something to me, and a lot. And I'll be the first one to say I'm not promoting this. Okay, a lot of things mean something to me. I'm that type of guy. It's like the things that mean I love what I like. That's me. So there's a lot of things that mean something to me, and autism happens to be one of them. So we're going to do our best in order to bring awareness to this condition. We're going to have some support, some acknowledgement of what it is that a patient goes through with autism. Some people don't even like to be called a patient. Some people don't like the fact that it's an illness. They just think that they're just different, and that people just need to live with that. So kudos to them for being all right with that and being with what it is that they feel comfortable with. But we're going to be bringing about what autism is, the autism spectrum, and try to make it not as complicated and not as medical terminology, as so many are. So, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Today is Thursday. The show's going to be Sunday, and we definitely want to get some feedback from our audience. We definitely want to know what it is that people are thinking, feeling. We also want to hear from you in regards to the challenges and struggles that you face, because I know a lot of them, but I don't know all of them. I know that for a fact. So definitely, give us an email or Twitter or Facebook or whatever the case may be. Get in contact with us. Because we want to hear from you. We want to know how we're doing. I'm going to take Wayne's line. Learn, improve, share. We are not too proud in order not to do that. It's like I know for a fact that things aren't 100% perfect, and nor are they ever going to be. But it's like they can be better, and and we can improve, and we're going to share our victories, and we're going to share our struggles. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But let me go ahead and give you the contact information in regards to you can get us on email, which is arisenstrength at gmail.com. There it is. Arisen Strength, all one word, at gmail.com. Twitter, we're not using Twitter enough. We're trying to get things a little bit streamlined a little bit so that we can get things done the way that we want to. But rest assured, we're going to get Twitter underneath our belt too. But you can find us at Twitter at Arisen Strength, all one word, or tweet us with the hashtag Arisen Strength. We've got 2 Facebook pages. One's a Facebook page, that's Arisen Strength. That's how we started, but we grew pretty quick. So we decided to make a group, and we changed that up a little bit. We made that the Arisen Strength family. And it's like I said, the reason why that is because the more that I talk to people within the group as the creator and the host, and also a member, the more I feel for these people like family. So that's why we changed it up to the Arisen Strength family.
Right.
So I wanted to say thank you for showing up and listening to us again on this Thursday with the recap show. Wayne, I want to say thank you for producing the show, and we definitely made some improvements that I'm excited about. So, anything you want to say?
I think let us know what you think of the studio view. It's prepare. We've been experimenting with some different things, and tonight we rolled out the studio view. See if it's something that we might want to keep, might want to use keep it in the future. Gives a little different view of what's going on here in the room when we're doing the show. Or anything else that you want to share with us about the show. We'll see you Sunday night for the autism.
Sunday night autism.
That's on the 12th, 8 p.m. And it's gonna be a heck of a show. I think we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I say good time because it is when you're positive. I mean, we can have a good time doing hard work because you feel good about the information that we're getting across. We feel good that we're able to share the awareness and celebrate these stories and just Arisen Strength in general and humans. It's a wonderful, fascinating thing, and it really can be a positive thing, and that's what we're about. Is trying to find that, not just trying to find that positive and empowering through the hard times, being positive. Yeah, are we happy all the time? No, not always happy, but positive. Yeah, we can do it.
Well, I think that's why Joey and I we come together. We decided to be a partnership with Arisen Strength because of that. Joey giggles. He's got a whole lot of pages out there that are about tough subjects. Arisen Strength, we talk about tough subjects, but it's okay to have a good time while talking about tough subjects. You don't have to be consumed by the negativity that comes along with it. So that's what we're trying to do, and we plan on doing a lot more of it. So
all right.
I just want.
Good night, folks, and
Wayne saying good night. I'm going to say good night. I just want to let the idea is to support, to empower, and to celebrate. I know how it is that you feel. I know what you're going through, and I'm here to help.